everybody, let's have a little chit chat today. The thing I want to talk about is a little bit of a sensitive topic. Well, I'm lying. The topic itself is not sensitive at all. But the subjects who I am referring to that this applies to is really who's sensitive. So, yeah, but if you feel some type of way when you're hearing me say this, then this probably is a video that you need to listen to and get something out of. I know that because when I started to evaluate myself and how this applied to me, I was feeling some type of way. But that feeling, I guess, kind of like let me know that I have to work on this stuff myself so that I can have a better life. This is geared toward predominantly females who are still in the dating pool, I guess you could say. Like, I'm talking to girls who are trying to find mates or girls who think that they are possibly in relationships with their future permanent mates. I'm talking to you guys. So that's what this video is for, and I feel like it has to be done, it has to be said, because we need to hear the truth, you feel me? And I feel like women will give each other advice on, oh my goodness, on how to like survive interactions with men and with, you know, people in different walks of life, like work, you know, professional stuff, business stuff, things like that. We will give each other advice about it and we'll take each other seriously. But then when it comes to how we can better ourselves by improving ourselves, it's a little bit harder of a pill for females to swallow because of the society that we are being bred in. So I noticed that as women, we have a really hard time blaming ourselves, taking blame for anything that happens in our lives. And I'm not talking about like people abusing you. I'm not saying that you should blame yourself for that. But I am talking about just your interactions with people. So I'm gonna make this very specific by talking more about couples, like relationships, romantic relationships, rather than just anybody in general. But you can apply these principles to your parenting, to your interactions with your parents, your siblings, your friends. But I'm talking specifically within the confines of your relationship the most, because I feel like this is where this stuff gets applied the most and seen the most and felt the most, because the people who are dating you are interacting with you on a more personal, intimate level than just the average person who's in your life. So I just wanted to preface what I'm saying with that so that the context of what I'm talking about makes sense to you guys. But anyways, and also guys, like this video is not geared towards you guys, but if you're listening to this, like, feel free to share this on your social media or to send it to some female friends of yours who it could help, okay? Because they really need to hear this. Your sisters, your moms, like struggling women who are trying to figure out what they're doing wrong when they're dating. I don't know why, but like our society has kind of made being a woman some kind of, I don't know, like a privilege or something. Like they've made it like, you know how people say there's white privilege? Like I feel like there's such a thing as girl privilege, you know? And because you're a woman, people tend to give you a lot of leeway. Like I have this ongoing inside joke with my husband where we call a lot of like pretty girls who have no ambitions. They don't have any goals in life. Not any real ones. I mean, like finish high school, something like that maybe, but they don't have any long-term goals. They don't really have any principles. They don't really know who they're looking for when they're dating. They don't know how to recognize the people that are good for them. They can't afford to survive on their own. Like they don't have a steady job. They don't have money saved up. They don't know how to budget. They don't really know how to adult, but they kind of get away with not having to do any of that stuff because there's always someone ready to take care of them. Like we call those girls beautiful bums because in a way they kind of are. Like you don't have anything of your own, and if someone wasn't taking care of you, like your parents or a man, then you're literally like, you'd be homeless. You wouldn't have nothing going for you. Or like the state is taking care of them, you know. we joke around and say that those girls are beautiful bums, because if they were males in that same situation, whatever their situation is, single parenthood, lost a job, didn't have enough education, went to jail, whatever the reason is, if a guy was in that same economic situation as that girl, living on somebody's couch, basically having somebody else care for them, nobody would give him a pass. Everyone would critique him and say that he was a loser. But for us millennial women who are constantly on social media fighting for equal rights and equal pay, and we're claiming that we're being so wronged by society and that we should be treated more like the men are, like, we don't factor this stuff in. We don't ever talk about how nobody opens doors for men. Nobody does any favors for a man. Those same women that are complaining about being treated like equal to a man, they'll also get offended that somebody didn't do them a favor or look out for them because I have a vagina, so you should. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know girls who keep men in rotation. They don't sleep with them. They just act like they're going to at some point. They act like they're interested in these guys, but they literally are just using them for resources. Like, they've got a constant ride. They can call this guy and he'll just come pick them up whenever, wherever. They've got someone who they can borrow money from. They've got someone who they can beg for stuff and they'll just give it to them. They've got someone who will buy them a meal. They just have categories of dudes lined up to do them favors and make their lives comfortable. And then if they are sleeping with anyone, like, they're messing with like some loser dude who has nothing going for him either. He's just good looking. That's it. That's the whole criteria. I mean, he's got muscles. I guess I'll sleep with him. He don't do nothing for you. He don't do anything for you, but you'll mess with that guy and then play all the guys who are trying to actually help you out. I think this is so wrong, and I feel like as a woman myself and as a mother of a female and a male child, I feel it's important for us to cultivate our communities and teach each other how to treat each other and how to behave in a way that's not infringing on other people's kindness. You know, it's not even just like resources. Like, I see a lot of women who are extremely aggressive. Like, their personalities, their attitudes are very aggressive. They have no training on how to respect men or, you know, whoever they're dating, because of course not all women are straight, and this doesn't only apply to straight females. So I'm just talking about girls in general, women in general. Here in the West, we're very brainwashed into believing that we are prizes to be won, some kind of reward for for men and or the people that want to date us, and that we should exploit that. And we're also like trained to believe that we're princesses, which is ridiculous. We're not princesses. Like, there's nothing special about you except for your character, how you carry yourself as a human being. That's it. You're not special because you have a vagina. And like, I don't know why we don't say this more often to each other. I don't know why so many women are afraid to just speak up and tell other women, you're wrong. Like, that's fucking wrong. I get a lot of times like girls that will complain to me about little squabbles they get into with their boyfriends or some misunderstanding they have with a guy, and they really have this expectation that the man should just let them get away with any stupid thing that they're doing. Girls who will get upset because they're like openly flirting with other dudes in front of their men, and then the guy will get upset or jealous and like tell her not to do that, and she'll be like, he's an insecure bitch, because why can't he be comfortable in his manhood to know I'm not gonna go run off with this guy? Why are you flirting with him in front of your man? Like, that's disrespectful. It's not about whether you're gonna do it or not. It's about, if he did that to you, you would flip the fuck out. So like, why do you get to do stuff that you don't want your own man doing? That's crazy. We're never held accountable for anything. That's so dangerous. And I just feel like society as a whole, we're going down this weird like rabbit hole where males and females, and especially in the ethnic communities. So if you are a non-white person who's watching this, I feel like this statistic is worse in our communities than anybody else. And because we already have a struggle trying to keep our family units together, like at least in Hispanic and Black communities, it's very, very common for there to be single parents raising children on their own, absent parents who aren't a part of their children's futures, and just broken homes. Like, if your parents are together, or if your parent is dating someone, maybe it's not your biological parent, it's very common to run into domestic violence, drug abuse, and just very poor, volatile communication styles. It's so normal in our society, and I don't think it needs to be like, it doesn't have to be that way, but that's mostly because people are not checking themselves. And I feel like, life starts with the woman. We're giving birth to human beings that are being produced into this world to go out and interact with the entire world, and how we conduct ourselves and how we set examples for our children make a difference in what the next generation is going to have to go through. I don't want my daughter being abandoned by potentially good men in her life because she got a stank ass attitude and she don't know how to check herself. And like, I see that sometimes my daughter does things like to my son that she really thinks she can just get away with it because she's a little girl. Like, she thinks he should just let everything she does slide because I'm a girl. Like, leave me alone. She'll whine, she'll cry, and that behavior will get her results. So she'll continue doing it even in times when she doesn't need to whine and cry. And I have to like really break her out of that habit that kind of society just kind of instills in you when you're a girl. You're not expressly told verbally you can get away with whatever you want to do. No one's going to hold you accountable, but like, just the way that people interact with you and what you see on TV and what you hear other people saying and doing when it comes to women, it starts to indoctrinate your brain into believing that you're faultless. Speaking from a personal standpoint, like, that has been a huge detriment to my relationship over the years, because I didn't even realize that I was doing a lot of the things that women do because we're just privileged. Like, we just think we can do it. Anytime my husband would like question me about something I was doing and say like, this is abusive behavior, why are you doing this to me, I would literally just be like, what are you talking about? Man the fuck up, man up, deal with it. What do you mean? I'm not doing anything abusive to you. And like, I had to really like evaluate my behavior because it would be the same things over and over and over again that I would be hearing him complaining about. For years, I really just thought, he's just being overly sensitive. What do you mean? Everybody does this. And then one day, being around my mom, I realized, no, everybody doesn't do this. Like, a lot of the weird stuff that I was doing, I picked up from being around my mom so long. My mom is like a narcissist. So the things that she does is very self-centered and like offensive to other people, because they're like, you're being so insensitive and rude to me. Like, what's wrong with you? The whole world doesn't revolve around you. But my mom believes that it does. So growing up with a parent like that, it was like a no-brainer that I was going to pick up those behaviors, even if I don't have the same reasoning behind why I'm doing it. It's just like second nature. I'm just doing it because that's how I've seen a woman interact with men for most of my upbringing. And that didn't help me to get along well with men when I got older and started dating. You feel me? So it's not enough to just have a pretty face. It's not enough to take care of your body. It's not enough to smell and look nice. Grooming yourself, all that stuff is important, but that's not what's going to keep your relationships together. A lot of girls have relationship problems because they don't want to change themselves. They don't want to critique themselves. They don't want to grow as people. They don't want to really stop and look at their flaws objectively without all this emotion and fantasy behind it, and just tell themselves, you know what, I need to work on myself. That's all you got to do. Just work on yourself. The issue, I think, is that people tend to just jump into relationships for the wrong reasons when they're not really ready. And I think most people don't think of a relationship when they're like young, when they're in their 20s or late teens. They don't look at relationships like this is a potential marital partner. A lot of times you're just like, oh, I just want to have fun, which is fine, experimenting and all of that stuff. But as you're doing that, it's very important for you to realize, like, the same way that that person who you're having fun with affects your life, you're affecting that person's life too. And the things you say and do with and around those people, they leave a mark on those people. So if you do the wrong things and say the wrong things, that's going to hurt that person and scar them and like potentially leave them traumatized. So when they're navigating their dating relationships, you've left this mark on this person that's causing them to behave in some way in the future to be protecting themselves from people like you. So the next girl who that guy is dealing with, even if she don't have all these weird problems that you have, he's going to be extra cautious and distrusting of that girl because you've sent a message to him that girls think they can get away with doing whatever they want, and there's nothing you can do about it as a guy. Oh, well, that's just what you have to expect if you want to date a woman. And that's pretty sad. That's pretty messed up. So I wanted to talk about this topic just to make it kind of like clear, like it's not acceptable, and as women we should take it serious how our gender is portraying itself as a whole to the opposite gender. Like, it should matter to us. Why should it matter to us? Because what about all these Me Too movement commercials and freaking social media campaigns, all this freaking nonsense that was going on, basically trying to make men feel guilty for their attraction to women or something. I don't even know. Like, I gotta get into that in another video about the whole Me Too movement, because that should be pissing me off. But bro, like, don't be a feminazi. Don't turn men against you, because we need men. We need men in society. We need them in our lives. Our lives are more balanced and fulfilled when men are around us and have good relationships with us, and we should be allies with men, not their enemies. Especially in the ethnic community, we cannot afford to lose any more alliances within our groups. Like, we can't. Moms, you should be teaching your daughters. Teach your daughter how to treat a male. Like, my daughter, we do not let her get away with just flipping out on my son and like saying anything she feels like saying to him and storming off. Never. Like, first of all, he's older than you. You should show him respect because he's lived longer than you. So he's trying to guide you and help you like a big brother is supposed to do. How we trained him to be. You can't just take advantage of him and then kick him in the leg and run off and say, oh, he was getting on my nerves because he told me to pick up my toys. Like, I have to tell my daughter all the time, people are not being mean to you because they tell you the truth. That's not meanness. Like, just because you don't like the truth, that doesn't mean I was being mean because I told you it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how some of you guys are going to take this video. She's a bitch. How dare she say that to us? Oh, she hates women. I think a lot of girls think I have like penis envy because I usually side with men when I hear these like feuds between males and females for whatever reason. I normally side with the men because their reasoning behind what they're saying is logical, and women, we just whine based on our fantasies, and it's like, what you're saying isn't even true. Where did you get that from? But we will, like the whole Me Too movement, it's got women thinking that all men are assholes, all men are trying to be predators, all men are deviant, all men are violent. No, they're not. The majority of males are fine. The majority of men are not crazy. The majority of men, they're not aggressive and they're not violent. They're not. They know when it's time to throw that stuff on and when it's time to turn that stuff off. Guys know the difference. However, there's a minority, a small amount, a tiny percentage of men who are those things, and they are publicized greatly by the media. So, and they're talked about the most between women. Like in this channel, I'm telling you guys about my rape stories. I'm telling you guys about domestic violence stories. I'm telling you guys about times where a lot of males were the perpetrators of horrible behavior towards me. But I'm also talking about women who have done those things. My own mother have done those things to me. My female coworkers, female managers at most of my jobs are the ones that I've had problems with. How come we're not looking at the whole gender of females as evil when we tell these stories? You know, how many mean girls do you guys know that just bullied you and terrorized you back in school because, I don't know, because you was cuter than them? That happened to me and my sister a lot. Like, almost every school that we ever went to, girls were bullying us, not boys. So it's not really fair to just generalize people based on their gender, but it happens, you know, and I feel like it's very important as creators of life on this planet that us women take this seriously and do our part in trying to perpetuate peace and caring and nurturing between people, instead of driving a bigger wedge between people who could be allies. And don't think that it's in our best interest for these people who run these movements to create dissidence between people. Like, that's what they want. It sells. They're trying to make money at the end of the day. They have an agenda they need to sell to us, and peace and love and caring, that doesn't fucking sell. Nobody wants to buy that. Drama is what sells, you know? So at the end of the day, it's don't be stupid. Don't fall into these traps and these rumors and whatever you see on TV and the media that's making you believe that you have the right to just do anything you feel like doing because you're a woman. No, you cannot. Like, I've seen women who cheated on their boyfriends, their husbands, perpetually, and like they always have some weird reason why it was okay. Well, he wasn't paying me enough attention. Well, if you was doing your job, then bitch, just break up with him. You got a vagina. You so amazing. Go find the next dude that's gonna do everything you want him to do, and he's gonna let you walk all over him. But they don't. They stay with that guy, or they try to stay with the guy who they're with, because there was already nothing wrong with him in the first place. You're just attention deprived. Relax. Why are you so freaking attention deprived? We have to evaluate these things, and I think it's really important for us as women to do that, to stop hiding behind our veil of the bra and man up, you know? As crazy as that sounds, but if y'all trying to be equal to men, right? So man up. Do what the guys do. They don't get a pass. They don't get an excuse. Even with this Me Too bullshit labeling all men as crazy, a lot of these guys, they're not angry at us. They're not canceling women because of that. They're not treating us worse because of that. They're still conducting themselves as the gentlemen that they are, and that's what men do. Like, I feel like when a woman gets wronged by enough males that she keeps picking incidentally, she'll just be like, fuck this, I'm gonna be gay, and just decide that she's gay now. Like, what are you talking about? And then when a guy gets wronged by women, they don't just say fuck off women. Like, most of them will just say fuck them bitches. I'm gonna go look for a better bitch. And like, that's what they do. They find better women. You feel me? They're not just gonna give up on the whole gender in general because they're totally in denial about how they can get along better with women. We gotta figure that out. We gotta learn how to do that. And like, if you have upstanding men in your life, man, don't just use them for their resources. Learn from those men. Learn how to think logically. Learn how to analyze without putting your emotions into things. Learn how to turn your emotions off sometimes when it's the appropriate time to do. Don't just react as soon as you feel something. Oh, I don't like the way he looked at that girl. I'm gonna go cheat on him now. Oh, I don't like the way that he didn't let me use his whole fucking paycheck this week to get my nails done. Well, I'm gonna go into the bank account and take the money anyway. Don't do stuff like that. Don't justify your weird behavior. Please stop it. Stop it. I have so many guy friends that like write to me nearly daily complaining about the shit they have to go through with girls, and they're trying to figure it out. They're like, what am I doing wrong? Why is she behaving like this? Why did she react like this? Like, and I have to keep telling those guys, you didn't do anything wrong. Like, you're being normal. She's a nutcase. That bitch got problems. That bitch got emotional issues. You need to leave her alone because she can't fucking think straight. They don't want to hear that because they want to salvage it. They want to forgive us. They want to give us another chance. They're just imagining it, you know, like, no, she's not really a bitch. She's not hopeless. What can I do, you know? And I have to tell these guys, like, you can't do anything. She's not the right one. She's not going to get it. And she's going to continue to use you and abuse you if you let her, while being in total denial that she's doing that. Move on. Let somebody else deal with her because it's not worth the headache, because you're actually a good dude. You actually shouldn't go to waste. You actually deserve to be with somebody who can appreciate the good guy that you are. And someone out there will. It's just very difficult for us to, like, point out those girls to men because outwardly we have this exterior of perfection that we're always putting on. It's kind of hard to find those girls that are okay just being flawed, you know, and admitting that they're flawed and trying to work on those flaws. Very, very hard to find those girls. Those of you who call yourselves churchgoers, those of you who call yourself God-conscious women, y'all especially, I feel like, don't really have an excuse, because you know that even if these people are not judging or able to see your flaws 100%, your creator can. You believe that there's a creator. So if you're actually not a hypocrite, then you should take that into consideration in how you modify your behaviors and learn how to be a better woman than you are, because it's making us look bad, okay? And I'm so tired of having to, like, I'm tired of not being able to defend us as a gender to these guy friends of mine. And some of them aren't even like my personal friends. Some of them are just like guys online that like know me from some kind of project that I did, like I don't know, like a blog that I was writing on, or some website that I did a talk on, or one of my videos on YouTube, or whatever. Like sometimes they're not my real life friends, but they're real men that actually have to deal with women, and they run into this stuff over and over again with us. And the fact that these guys keep running into this with us is how I know it's like a majority of women that act like this. Yeah, because they shouldn't be running into back to back to back to back. Every woman you dated is up her own ass. Like, holy moly. Like, I always ask them, like, why do you guys bother with us? We're so annoying and impossible sometimes. Like, why? Like, even when I'm talking to my own girlfriends, I'll be like, can you shut up sometimes? Because they'll just whine and whine and whine about everything that's going wrong in their relationship. And I'm like, you're never looking in the mirror. You're never asking yourself what you can do differently. And then the few girls that, like, are on point, they'll go pick assholes to date. And then when that asshole treats them like an asshole, those girls will start to blame themselves and be like, maybe I'm not pretty enough. And I'm like, are you stupid? Like, what is going on? Girls, can we please get out of this? What is wrong with us? Can we get it together? Like, we need to use logic, not girl logic. Because that's just, we're just caught up in our fantasy. No. Like, there's so many girls that will say, oh, I think I'm fat because my boyfriend's exes are skinnier than me, and he probably likes those kind of girls. If he liked those kind of girls, then why the hell is he dating you, stupid? Like, you look the same as you did when y'all met, so why would he be dating you? Obviously, his type is not skinny girls. Like, a lot of times I don't think we realize, girls, that guys don't even have a type. They just like girls who are nice to them. Like, they don't care. If you have boobs and a vagina, that's a good baseline for you to start with. You don't have to be exceptionally pretty. You don't have to be wearing all this name brand stuff. You don't have to be dressed all tight clothes. You don't have to have long hair. You don't even have to have any hair. You don't have to do nothing except just be a girl and be nice. That's it. That's it. That's really it. Men are so easy to please when we complicate things, you know? Don't do that. Don't do that. And like, it's almost like we get mad at men because they're not as complex as we are. And for some reason, we're like trying to like make you guys get complex. Like, we want y'all to be complex. I don't know why, but I don't know. I guess our brains are just wired like that. Whatever. But again, the stuff that I'm talking about, you know, it sounds like I'm generalizing. I'm talking about a specific niche of women who are in the dating pool that clearly, like, I don't know what the hell they're dating for. They have a laundry list of things that the men are supposed to do before y'all even get together. Like, before she even gives you her phone number, she wants to know you got a job, you make a certain amount of money, you got a car, you got a place, you don't got no kids, you ain't never been married, you fit, you weigh a certain weight, you a certain height, you a certain skin tone. All this stuff these girls want you to do. Oh, and also treat me like a princess, by the way, because I'm a princess now. And what did you do to become a princess? Like, were you born to royalty? Was your daddy a king? Did you marry a prince? Did you marry a king? In real life, princesses are made. Like, you're not just a princess because you say so, because you proclaim it. That's not how that works. What are you talking about? Princesses don't conquer nothing. Like, what are you talking about? Princesses exist because a male in their life gave them that title. Like, they earned it through a man. So what are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? And like, again, with the God-conscious women, like, if you truly believe the creation story, it goes like, Adam was here first. The man, he ain't need you. He was already here doing his thing. Then he started getting bored and lonely. And he was like, I need somebody to help me out because I'm bored. And then girls came along. Eve came along. Supposedly, Eve was made from like the rib of Adam, right? Ain't that what they say? Okay, so that means you wouldn't exist if a man didn't have a need for you. So your sole purpose was to please the man. Your sole purpose was to keep him company. Your sole purpose for being created was not to go to work, not even to have babies, because that came later, not to nag people and tell them what to do all day long. It was not for none of those reasons, okay? Your sole purpose for existing at all was because the guy needed some companionship. That's it. That's the only reason. So if you truly believe that the creation story is real, then all you girls who call yourself religious, you have no excuse. You should be working on how you could be a better helper and supporter to the men that you want in your life, because you do want men in your life. That's why you're whining online where all the good men is at. If you didn't want men in your life, then you wouldn't be complaining about it. So obviously something is missing, or you're trying to fulfill something in your life, but it's not occurring to you that maybe you're the problem. Maybe you should control your temper better. Maybe you should stop cussing him out every time you get upset. Maybe you shouldn't accuse him of things when you don't have any proof he actually did anything. You just think, you just have a feeling. Maybe you should stop being so jealous every time he's around another woman or talking to another woman. Why are you so insecure? Leave him alone. Let him breathe. Let him think. Let him live. Let him feel. Leave him alone. But y'all don't want to do that. You want to create drama and problems in your life and then blame the whole male gender. Blame all men. Write all men off. Tell all men off. That's wrong. That's so backwards. And let's stop being spoiled Western brats, okay? I don't know what's wrong with y'all hanging out with way too many like privileged white girls or something, because, dude, that's not how it goes. And even the privileged white women, like, they kind of know their place when it comes to their men a lot of times, because that's how they're able to keep their men around and like have comfortable, cushy lives. They're not constantly battling their men. Learn from those girls. Learn from those women who are in happy, healthy relationships. Like, I swear to God, like, there's people, I know women that have tried to attack my relationship because it makes them so angry that I have an unconventional relationship and I'm happy with it. Like, I'm fine with it. And it makes them so angry. Like, they want me to see problems in my relationship that I don't even have. So they'll just attack it. You know what I'm saying? Meanwhile, they themselves are in a relationship with an abuser. They're messing with a guy whose dick don't get hard. They're messing with a guy who's openly cheating on them with all these freaking people and thinking he's getting away with it. They're messing with people who are so-called religious, but they're beating your ass behind closed doors. These women be having like problems, like guys mooching off of them. That's another thing. Like, y'all be having niggas just straight mooching, driving your car around, taking all your money from work, spending your paycheck at the strip club, like totally disrespecting you. And then you're worried about what I'm doing. Like, bro, I'm fine. I'm chilling. I'm happy. Y'all ain't gotta be worried about me. You should worry about yourself. I just feel like it's so important for us to have these kinds of discussions openly. It hurts to hear the truth sometimes, I know. But again, as women, it's like we're always trying to avoid everything that bothers us or makes us feel upset. Oh, well, if you're upset, deal with that emotion, let it pass, but don't discredit the logic behind what you're hearing. The stuff that I'm saying to some of y'all, this is not the first time you heard somebody say this to you. There was a man somewhere in your life, your son, your brother, your uncle, your dad, a spouse, an ex-boyfriend, a current boyfriend. There is a man somewhere in your life that you've heard similar things being said about you too. Those guys complain to you. These guys that love you, that want you to do better, that want to see you do better, they critiqued you and you didn't want to listen. You didn't want to take it. You didn't want to believe it. You thought they were just being mean. You thought that they were being too hard on you and you just didn't want to internalize it. But you have to. If you want to survive interactions as an adult with sane, capable men who will protect you, who will gladly share their resources with you, who will be happy to be seen with you, who will be loyal to you, who will fight for you, who will rear your children with and for you. If you want to experience that in life, then you have got to get out of your fantasy bubble and come to reality and work on fixing these things about your personality that you just been taken for granted. You just been doing this stuff without thinking there's any consequences behind your behaviors. And for those of you who can afford to, I highly recommend going to therapy. It doesn't have to be couples therapy. It doesn't have to be relationship counseling. Just regular personal therapy, and talk about this stuff with someone who's a professional that can give you some good feedback or some tools that you can use to apply to your life. and try to do things different. The main thing I think is that as women, we don't have good communication skills with men. We're good at just talking in general, just running our mouths, saying a bunch of stuff without really thinking about the consequences. But how we speak to men, we don't really know what to do. We don't really know what that looks like, especially if you come from one of these backgrounds that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, where you grew up in a broken household environment. I was used to seeing my mother shouting and yelling at all the men in her life. She shouted and yelled at us constantly. That's her way of like expressing herself when she's agitated. And I picked that behavior up. All of my ex-boyfriends I shouted and yelled at. All of my ex-boyfriends, we had, you know, these loud, aggressive yelling matches with each other that I would never behave that way in public. You know what I'm saying? I would never do that in public unless I was actually under attack or something, you know? But like, just because I was upset, like just because I'm in a bad mood, I'm not going to yell and scream at my boss. I'm not going to shout at the lady at the register at Walmart, you know? But there are people that do things like that because they don't have a filter. They don't have nobody checking them to say, hey, you can't behave like this. Like, why are you being so aggressive and abusive to people? That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because if a man was acting that way in public or anywhere, people would be quick to call the cops. People would be like, this guy is out of control. His temper is scary. We need to do something about it. But as women, I feel like we think we're exempt. No, we're not. No, we're not. If you're the kind of girl that likes to play the blame game, nothing's ever your fault. So this is how you know that I'm talking about you. Like, if you're not sure, these are the signs, you guys. If you're constantly telling yourself it's someone else's fault that you had a conflict, if you're always telling yourself, well, I could do better if I didn't have all this pressure on me, if I didn't have all this weight on me. Oh, why am I expected to do these things? Why doesn't somebody else do it instead? If you're thinking those kinds of thoughts, if you're always feeling like you have the right to dictate who your man is going to talk to and where they can go and what they're up to, and you think you have the right to go through his phone, to go through his social media, to go through anything of his, if you feel like you have the right to do that, I'm not saying that you feel you have a reason. I'm saying the right. Like, he didn't even give you a reason. You just, I got a gut feeling. I'm just nervous. I'm just insecure. I'm just jealous. I just don't know. I think this girl has a crush on him. Whatever your weird ass reason is, if you think you have the right to infringe on somebody like that, you have got it twisted. Because if a dude did that to you, you would call him a control freak. You would say he was being a chauvinist. You would say that he's being sexist. You would say that he's being distrusting. You would say he was insecure. You would say he was nuts. Don't do that stuff to your man. Don't do that stuff to no man. Leave them alone. Let them breathe. I pray that this message finds the right ears that need to hear this stuff, because I needed to hear this. I needed to hear this stuff myself, and I'm grateful that I heard it when I did, and I started to take it seriously, because I might not have a stable marriage now if I didn't. I might not have any stable relationship with any person, man or woman, if I didn't take heed to my own issues and critique myself. I still have a lot of things to work on. I feel like I lose my temper sometimes quicker than I want to, and I don't want to be like that. I feel like I find myself going down this road of imagining, interpreting what certain actions and behaviors mean that don't mean that. It's just in my head. I'm just telling myself, did he really mean to say this when he said that to me? I do that a lot, and that's crazy, because it starts trouble and it doesn't need to. You feel me? So I hope that that's the message that I'm getting across here. I don't really know, because I never know what I sound like until after I'm done with the video and I edit it. Because I don't have a script. You feel me? I'm just telling you guys what I'm feeling, like I would if you were here in the room with me. But hopefully it did do that for someone. And hopefully, guys who are hearing this, leave comments below if any of this stuff sounds familiar to you, or if you feel like you deal with this stuff from women more than one time. If it's a constant thing that you're running into from women, and tell me your thoughts on that, because I don't think they believe me. I think women think I'm exaggerating when I tell them, no, my guy friends think we're fucking crazy. They don't understand what the hell is wrong with us. And it's worse, I feel like, when you're a pretty girl. The more beautiful you are, the less you feel like you can be held accountable, because you just get away with so much more than average looking women, which is insane, because the women who are the prettiest are the most coveted by men. So that means you're running into men more, like you're interacting with them more than the average looking girls do. So you girls are giving us like the worst reputation as women, because y'all are the ones interacting with men the most. That's insane. Think about that. Don't contribute to this demographic anymore, you guys. Please, if you've heard this message, don't take it as me trying to just attack y'all because I just have a problem with fellow females. No, I don't. It's a few of us who use our common sense and realize that these guys actually have a point. And those are the women, I think, who are winning. These are the women that are being taken care of by the men. These are the women that are very happy playing our role. And like, we don't got no problem with it. We're chilling. We're not oppressed. We're not missing out in life. Women, you guys are born to be feminine. Like, the feminine essence is you as a woman. That's your right as a woman to be feminine. And like, that doesn't equal aggression and blaming and being spoiled and entitled. That doesn't include any of those characteristics. Like, why do we think it's okay to be like that, but we're still walking around saying that we're feminine, ladylike women that should be treated like princesses? Those are opposites. You're behaving like a warrior. You're behaving like someone who's not a princess. So like, why do you expect men to treat you like a princess when your behavior doesn't reflect the so-called title that you gave to yourself? That's what crazy people do. Don't do that. That's crazy. Don't do that. Don't do that. All right. Subscribe to the channel if you don't want to miss any other videos like this. And drop it in the comments if you have a request or a question that you want me to go over. You want to hear my take on something, leave that in the comment section. And don't forget to follow me on Instagram, where we can also pick up these conversations in the DMs and the comments over there. And my Instagram handle is Gypsy Vibe. Those of you who are visiting from Broken Dolly TV, hi! Hi, Tevin! Hi, Jody. Thank you guys for coming over and checking out the videos here on this channel, and also kind of just hanging out with me here, because I feel like, you know, we're not talking about my hobbies here. We're just talking about life and things I'm thinking about. So I really feel like you guys are getting to know me better, and I feel closer to you guys that have been supporting me on both channels. I really appreciate that. So I will talk to you guys in the next one, and until then, I'll see you next time on Anxiety Ave.